The developers of Dead by Daylight have invited me to get an exclusive early look at the Judgment, a killer that will release in several months from now. This is the 10th anniversary Grimoire killer, which is planned to release later this year. And I can already tell you he's pretty fun to play. But first I want to take a deep dive in how a killer is actually made and what stages it goes through, as I do have a unique perspective to give as a consultant. In the consultant program, we usually give our opinion on the early stages of killer development and what we think about them, but this is always done privately and I cannot publicly talk about it. This is a unique opportunity where the developers want to be as open as possible and give this community some insight on how this actually happens and how killers are made. And that is exactly what we're going to do in this video. First, I'm going to recap on every development step from the Grimoire killer until now, and then we're going to jump in game and see what the prototype of the killer actually looks like right now. I hope you enjoy. Let me first give you some context on what this killer actually is and why we already know so much about them. Dead by Daylight is going into its 10th year anniversary, and as a celebration, BHVR, the developers of Dead by Daylight, have started creating a chapter in collaboration with the community, letting them choose on different design choices on the way. And this has been going on for several months at this point. In phase 1 of the Grimoire, the community has decided that the Judgment is a majestic, radiant divine being that acts as a holy punisher. It torments and exiles sinners in personalized ways, enforcing exalted truths through suffering. The gameplay should revolve around judging sins and punish action like selfishness or mistakes and delivering retribution. A very interesting proposition, unlike any killer we've seen before. The killer designer dedicated to this killer, Jeff, revealed that there are 3 pillars of judgment that he should follow. The first one being status builder. The judgment must apply an effect that progresses throughout the match, similar to Dr. Unreal. The second pillar is fitting punishment. The killer must exact punishment equivalent to the sin that was committed. And the third one is force of judgment. The killer is a terrible divine being survivors should fear being judged. These were the starting guidelines and the foundation on the first version of the killer. The power already found a very fitting name, Ray of Retribution. On the first prototype, Ray of Retribution was a mid-range beam that built up and increased survivor sin meter when struck. This ability did not go through walls, and when the survivor had a full sin meter, it started injuring them. This early version also had talks of transforming the power into a skill shot that instantly injures survivors when empowered under certain conditions, and giving a shield to their judgment, which offers one-time protection from blinding or getting stunned. But this was deemed unfeasible in terms of complexity for the power on both a technical level and making the power too convoluted overall. The sin mechanic is a meter on survivors that builds up over time and gets progressed further by certain actions like doing generators when the team needs rescue or taunting the killer. Once the meter's full, the judgment can send survivors to the exile, in which survivors have to dodge hazards and outlive the timer with the ability to accelerate by collecting fragments of purity and find artifacts. Once the timer was outlived, the sin was removed and the survivor would respawn at a shrine on the map. Sending a survivor to the exile would also empower Ray of Retribution for a limited time, allowing the judgment to instantly injure survivors without having to build up sin. Survivors respawning from the exile would also get an artifact which could temporarily protect them from Ray of Retribution. This became the first playable prototype of the killer. Let me quickly explain you what a prototype is. Prototypes are playable, early simplified versions of the killer to be able to test the powers in an actual trial environment. To do this in a timely manner, assets from other characters are oftentimes used to be as time efficient as possible. This is why almost everything you will see in this video will not resemble the final product in terms of art or sound design in any way, since they are just reused assets to be able to test the gameplay as well as possible before finalizing anything that might not end up being used, since killers like this are very likely to change fundamentally in the way they function if you compare the first playable prototype to the finished product. And this first prototype is where the consultants got their first hands on it, and this showed some initial problems. Ray of Retribution in its current form lacked depth. While playing and piloting the power was really fun initially, since it was completely hit scan, it was very hard to impossible to dodge for survivors when they were out in the open, and considering the sizable slowdown when charging it, when the survivor had a tile to play, it was very hard to get hits, making it both frustrating to play and to play against, without having any ambition to learn anything or improve at the power. Unlike killers like Trickster, it was not very hard to get consistent at. After a few games, it felt really stale without any bigger skill ceiling to it. The Exile also felt odd for several reasons. Since nobody had to save exiled survivors, the natural slowdown was missing, which felt like the Exile was a bigger punishment for the killer rather than the survivors. It simply had more downsides than upsides. Survivors in the Exile also did not feel pressured, being incredibly safe while inside essentially having a timeout, the opposite of what was intended. These were quite a few things to fix, but nothing unusual for the first prototype, given the killer is still months away from release. The biggest flaw was the uninteresting Ray of Judgment, with the straight beam not giving interesting gameplay. Some other forms were explored, including making it reflect off walls, but sadly Dead by Daylight's collision was not created to support such a change, making it hard to control and rather random in nature. To make it more skill expressive, Ray of Judgment became a pillar that moved away from the judgment while staying controllable and following the general direction of the mouse, slowing down when hitting objects but going through them. This version of the power did not have the problems the first iteration had, being extremely fun to use and to play against. One pain point that I did not mention yet, however, was the sin system. The idea of the first prototype was for survivors to accumulate sins by doing sinful actions like doing generators while a survivor was exiled. In reality, it felt pretty bad to play, being punished for doing the objective. For the second version of the power, sin was similar to the infection on Nemesis, as in it had to be applied by hitting the survivor once and after that they could be damaged. And with that, we arrived at today's state of development, the second prototype, which is what Odstava, Alf, Minskal, Asimovs and I were able to test and showcase today. The consultants already tested this version prior and it was very impressive thanks to its fast speeds. In comparison to the consultant test, the travel speed of the power was severely reduced, making it a lot less deadly. Generally, killer balance is very secondary at this point of development. It is more about improving the design, while fine-tuning numbers gets more important once the general design is final. This test was done via remote PC connections that are all the way in America, and you can probably figure out that leads to crazy input lag that makes finicky powers like these a lot harder to control. Alright, so the Grimoire Killer, we are playing it and we're in already, and I want to get as close as possible to him before I release this. Is that a hit? No, not quite. Okay. Yes, Shack available now. Perfect, get that injury. The pillar's hitbox is the biggest when it spawns, which means spawning it right on top of the survivor gives them the least amount of chances to dodge. Keep in mind though, the survivor can see the pillar before it launches. Perfect, get this in, and I can get them on attack right after. Not quite. Can we follow it up? Oh, nice! The long range snipe. Perfect. Okay, I saw him on that gen, but we lost our ruin now. That is unfortunate. Oh. Was someone on that gen? I think I might have hit someone, actually. Okay, odds went wide. Let's go for one attack. Nice. Oh, too far again. One of the biggest challenges with the judgment is judging the depth of your attack when trying to land a pillar on top of a survivor. This is one thing all the players agreed upon after playing the killer multiple times. I am aiming a little bit too far ahead. Nice. Okay, I got it. And now, can I send him to the Exile? I can. Only 2 gens left though. Odds is dead on hook though. And we have 2 people. Oh, not quite. 2 inaccurate on that. Perfect. Got the injury through the wall. And can we follow it up? I can go for the 1 attack here. No problem at all. And another exile. Perfect. So some of the props here obviously resemble Dead by Daylight props that are already in the game. And we're on odds again. Odds, brother. What did he do? You know what? I'm gonna give him a little bit of a chance here. And let's go for Alf. Ooh. Great dodge by him. I'm getting the hang of this now. Perfect. 1. Oh, let's go. We got the follow-up shot too. Great dodge by him though. Does he make that pallet? Barely. He's gonna drop it. Playing it safe. Nice. Okay, let's put him on the hook now. Or rather, let's banish him to the exile. Let me quickly explain you a little bit about exiling. In this prototype, exiling is not really worth it. The empowered state did not work and survivors could save exiled teammates on one of 7 shrines that spawns next to generators after 20 seconds, meaning they have very little downtime. One flaw of this version of the killer that will need further work. These shrines are really high progress though. I need to watch out, otherwise they're gonna all escape. Perfect. And I see odds in the distance. Can I maybe? Do I want to try? You know what? I'm going to try to snipe him here. Oh, perfect. The first shot. Can I follow it up? No, not quite. He managed to dodge. He went wide. Very well played by odds. Okay, I'm going to go for the hook here. Let's send you on the hook. I don't want to slug you for too long. Okay, that's too far. Surveillance giving me a little bit more range. Perfect. Oh. Great dodge. I think they're gonna get the gen done though. Perfect. Spawned it right on top. Can we do that again? Tiny bit too far. And the gen is done. Oh. They're trying to help. Can we get a hit? No, not quite. Nice. We got that. Can I get one more maybe? You're not safe. Oh. Oh, they got them up, but no chance. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna go for the boy. Alright, GG. We got some stages, but we couldn't quite get the 4K. Yeah, I mean, with input lag, it can be really hard, yeah. Because you need to kind of land it on top of people. Okay, second game, time to hop on. And this time, we're gonna show what's good. So we are a little bit more comfortable on the power now. I kind of knew already what it was going in, but it's still pretty hard to control because we have a little bit of input lag. That's how we are playing. We're playing on remote PCs. We are on Mother's Dwelling. Okay, we have a build that gives us a little bit of aura and a little bit of slowdown. And I am hoping that these two things together make for a great combo to surprise survivors and have fast chases. All right, so Alpha's over there. The famous Jeff. He is going very wide. Holding the check spot. Perfect. Got that hit. He went to the right. We predicted it. Oh, Alf is a very good survivor. This is not an easy chase. As of course, we have to play against insane survivors in this playtest. Good dodge. Alright, I'll have turn one here. And he just drops the pallet. Let's see where he wants to go. Is he gonna stick with this? Kind of. What? He just jokes into me. Well done, Alf. Well done. Respect. Okay, so we have pain resonance. Let's see if we can get a pain res hook relatively fast. Because given that no gen has popped, I think there's 3 splitting the gens. I'm playing against a 40k horse rod. And I think we barely got a pain res in. Great dodge here by the Sable, which is Minskull. Perfect. Landed right on top of him. Can we repeat that though? Certainly not, if he's dodging that well. Oh, he sees it coming and he goes for the vault. Well done. Can we? Perfect. Landed right on top. Oh my god. They are making it so hard. Is someone here to save? Oh! Oddstava trying to rescue. Okay, let's put him on the hook here. That jump pop too. And barbecue and chili. Can we see anyone? And Alf is very good at dodging. He's going back and forth. He's gonna drop that pallet. That makes a lot of sense. And I don't want to lose too much distance. Let's get a little bit closer. That's the first hit. Perfect. You know what? Let's see. Can we hit this? No, we cannot. I tried. Alf, still taunting. Can we hit the long range shot? We cannot. That was actually so close. Like, the depth is very hard to judge. It's definitely partially... Oh! We hit him all the way down in the basement. No shot. All right, you know what, Alf? If you like the basement that much, then you're gonna stay down there, buddy. Perfect. Okay, let's see. We do have barbecue and chili, so we see 2 survivors working different generators. This one pops. Oh, look at this. Our arch enemy. It's Alf once more. Cards. Oh, a little bit too far. So it speeds up if you don't hit anything. And it slows down the moment you hit anything in its path. Which makes it pretty hard to control at times. And that's why the majority of people here are a little bit struggling. It's not only me. Luckily. Oh, perfect! I landed that right on top of him, though. This is how we're supposed to do it. Oh, let's go. That was great. 3 shots on odds here. Oh, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. We got the first shot on Alf. Can we get the follow-up, though? Cancel. Damn, he's forcing the locker. Well played. Okay, I think we're gonna get this 1 kill, but nothing more. All right, Alf. Time to banish you into the abyss. And that was the new killer. This animation obviously being a placeholder. But yeah, you can see the potential. Very fun. In this prototype, survivors could see the projectile the moment the killer started casting. This, together with the limited maneuverability of the projectile, made it extremely hard for them to get hit. After a few hours of playing, hitting these dodging survivors became incredibly difficult. But these are things that can easily change with numbers. Keep in mind, this is still in development. Let me know what you think about the killer and what would you like to see change in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.